In progress.
Okay, very good morning and afternoon and evening to all my Zoom audience and friends and colleagues, and also to the Facebook live audience, or if you are watching a recording, I very warmly welcome to you. This is our online lifelong study circle, which basically purpose is to fill the gaps which remain unfulfilled since our schooling, our when we graduated from our schools, universities, and even after a long time, we could not learn those things which are really essentials for our present life to make significant improvement, to make quantum changes in our life, not only intellectual level but also on spiritual level. Uh, Today's class will be on as usual two session. One session and both session have two courses which we are doing from last 8 weeks. One course is on introduction to advanced listening skill, where we read and we try to understand highest form of listening we can experience. It helps us to improve relationship between friends, between husband and wife, between customer and boss, between employee and the boss, and so many other things with a greater degree. It's very advanced stuff we are doing from last 8 weeks, and today we are in week number 10 uh, in that course. The other course, which we will continue after half an hour or 45 minutes, on pain body, in relationship with media and films and movies, we will be discussing and learning today. So let's start our today's class. And in today's 10 week number 10 class will be covering important information about um, to understand what type of listener I am. I need to know, even I'm in 30s, in 40s, in 50s, 60s, 70s years of age or 80 years of age, no matter. But I need to know what type of listener I have become, and whether it's good, super bad, poor. That is the purpose. We started this section last week, when we try to learn about how the childhood is so important to make me a listener, which I am right now. Also, we learned the strokes through my adults or elders or my teachers. I was grooming with them, how that were influencing negatively or positively in order to become a great listener in my present life. So this is continue. Today we will learn, especially in socializing perspective, that um, that when I'm socializing with my friend, with my family, with my relatives, with my even customer in a business networking, and what type of listener I am, what were the root cause, and I am feeling any guilty when somebody tried to tell me and I'm not giving the attention. Sometime I feel embarrassed, because sometimes we ask, oh sorry, can you repeat again, because we were not concentrating what other talker is talking about. And we often say, excuse me, can you repeat it again, excuse me, or even we do not have habit to ask the talker, can you repeat, because we don't want to listen, because of my some previous bad habit have been built, unfortunately. So we are today trying to understand how socializing um uh, can be improved by making me better listener. And if I'm not better listener, can I diagnose or can I locate what went wrong in my childhood, what went wrong with my parents when they made me like this which I am? Or should I blame to my parents or teacher who did not listen to me, or who they did not help me to become a better listener? So that's we are trying to understand in today's session, to know how you become listener you are, how I am, what level of listener I am. So this is a quick brief which we covered in last 9 weeks. Like this is overview. I don't want to repeat because of the shortage of time. So let's try to do our week number 10, which I'm highlighting on my screen. And content which I'm taking from a very amazing book, The Listening, the Forgotten Skill, that I'm taking. This is recommended by my teachers, Dr. Stephen Covey. So, and that was my great idea. That was my great action, which and step I took by and buying this book and presenting you great things from you, because these type of books are not available in market, or neither nobody will advise you to buy and read this book, because we do not give importance to the skills. That's how we have been trained, unfortunately, and that's we are learning from last 8 weeks, 9 weeks in this course. So, but there is a good news. I'm your host Marathib, and I'm sharing these secrets of becoming a great listener, in order to become a great husband, in order to become a great wife, employee, boss, and any role which I'm playing at the moment. So let's start our today's that how socializing process is helped me to find me what type of business listener I am. There will be a quick exercise after 10 minutes, and that will help you as well to know what type of listener you are and how you can improve it at the moment. But if you see this um, uh, image on the screen, that usually we often experience this type of gathering when I'm meeting on a wedding with my other friends and family, when I meet my new networker friends, my colleagues in the same company. So we meet many new faces, and some old faces in on the gathering. But do we feel guilty? Many times. I feel sometimes guilty when I could not concentrate on the other talker, what they're talking about. And more embarrassment I feel when I don't respond accurately the way it should be, because of the poor childhood training or bad experiences I have. So that's we are trying to locate today. I think that's find interesting for you. Um, my Facebook watchers and audience, you can also put um, your comments, your question about the topic which we are reading, which we are discussing, and any question more you will ask, more and enhanced learning you will be doing, and it will improve the quality of your life as well. So let's try our reading for today. I would ask my colleague Jenny, she can start reading, and then we start to discuss it. So let's start reading.
Socialization process. All children live in a social environment that influences the type of behavior patterns they develop. As children's fears of experience grow, they incorporate into their own personalities those of the people close to them: parents, grandparents, older siblings, teachers, and so on, who interact with them every day over a long time period. The effects have several dimensions.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, continue for second quick paragraph, please.
The way in which adults listen to children tells children something about themselves. Parents who interrupt their children, look stern while listening, ignore their children's feelings, or turn away when their children are talking, send a message that what the children have to say is stupid or unimportant. This has a negative effect on the children's self concept, an effect that lasts well into adulthood. As a result, listening ability is hampered. Studies show that when people are anxious or worried about approval, they have trouble concentrating on what is being said.
Yeah, that's thank you very much. It's a great reading. Always remember, and we need to consciously aware about this. If I'm feeling guilty, I'm not a good listener. I don't care about the talker, or about the speaker. There is something wrong with me. Of course, I don't need to ignore it. I need to first accept it that I'm a poor listener. And then after that, help yourself try to diagnose what happened, what went wrong, and try to figure out by going in your childhood memories what kind of guardian or what kind of mother or dad they used to talk with. What were the family rules were you following, or there were no family communication rules in the within the home environment? What type of bad or poor or great listener my dad was? How my mother were interacting when I was talking something important? Was she ignoring because of some reason? And then what used to be consequence of that ignorance and ignoring factor? I have to do this. Without doing and going back to your childhood, you cannot find it. And once you will go there and sharp your memory, you will find very amazing and very secret things which you still remember now by focusing on that thing. And you will find some of the um, obstacles, some of the key factor why you have this problem today. So this is a very practical session I'm giving you. No theory, no in hanky banking stuff like I'm going to talk you. Very straightforward, and because we don't have time to work on this. So if we can do these work now in this class or after finishing this class, that will be a great impact on your life. So that's I'm going to tell you. Uh, for a quick thing, just concentrate now. So I'm giving spotlight on your current any listening behavior in your personal and professional life and trying to figure out why and what could be its roots in your inconsistent bad past events or childhood any age level or wrong learned behavior you did from your mother, from your dad, from your teacher, from your guardian, from your big brother or big sister or whatever, or from your neighbor. Just take few moments. I imagine and not imagine, go back into your previous real life which you did spend. I'm just visualize your mother face. Just try to visualize your dad when you were 10 years of age, 8 years of, you were 8 years old, 6 years old, 11 years old, when you were in primary school. Um, just go there and see how many faces you are seeing. Mother, your siblings, neighbor, your dad, your teacher, head teacher. And when you were trying to speak with them, what type of listener they were. Just try. Were they very empathic? Were they attentive listener? Were they problem solver listener? Like after listening you, they did resolve your problem, or they commented upon your action or your talking, and you were happily agree and satisfy after their speaking? Or were they ignoring you continuously, and they say shut up? Or did they say you some other bad things, or they they try, I mean, they did try to redirect your talking to something else? Or they say okay, stop, stop, stop? Or did they say continuously um, some wobbly things which made you confused? Did they show you some facial expression like showing the body language that they are pretending to listen but they were not actually listening? You have to go back. You need to evaluate your those experiences. This is very important. Very important. I hope everybody is with me. So if somebody say yes, or type a message, that will be great. That
Yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So now, of course, we have a short of time. We cannot do all things, but which I'm trying to shift in your current focus of the life into problem resolving, you as a listener. Then if you have gone back in your past life, now you try to identify that are you able to consciously turn into attentive and empathic listener, or empathic listening you are doing? And more importantly, if you see on the screen, these are the 5 key questions you can ask, or you can write on your piece of paper. That exercise you can do after finishing this class. I can say for Facebook audience, number 1 question you can ask: how did your parents listen to you when you were young? You need to answer it by typing or by thinking. More importantly, when you are thinking about different events on your childhood experience, when you were interacting with your mother or your dad, you need to write down. Write down many important events. Then you need to ask your question again, what type of communication they used to do. They were direct communicator, they were indirecting, telling you something, they were giving you some sarcastic commenting usually, or they were giving you logical commenting. They were trying to, what sort of communication they used to do? Violent communication, very empathic communication, direct, indirect, and so many, whatever you can perceive. Then you can ask question, were there any family rules in your house about communication? For example, with my children, I try to make them not to use these words at all in my home, in our home. So my children, my spouse, myself, we don't use this word because these are the rules of the house. And if somebody speak those words, the other person point out, and we now in a meeting that why this word was used, what happened, and then we try to consciously resolve and make ourselves aware that we not to speak these prohibited words at all in our family. Were any rules in your home? That you need to answer. Then the question number 4, you can ask that how does this family system affect you as an adult listener and communicator which you are? So now immediately you need to see your present life and your previous life, make a comparison, and try to align something which happened in your past, and now it is a result what you are today. So that you need to work on. And the last but not the least question you can ask, how does it affect on your current job, what you are doing? If you are employee, if you are a colleague, if you are a charity fundraiser, if you are a politician, if you are an accountant, or if you are a business owner, how that listening pattern or habits which you get trained by your parents are impacting you now. Mostly we're talking about the negative, but we are talking about the positive as well. One second, please. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. So that we have to answer them very, very deliberately and consciously about these things. Now let's go back to our reading, and we will try to learn different incidents, different true stories, which author of the book she has explained that my or his or her current behavior at job was actually had the roots with parental habitual ignoring as well. So that's we trying to show. So let's say there is a character, is a true story of Margaret. She is telling the story through the author. So let's try to read it. So I would ask Mike if he can read this.
Margaret's father looked at her disapprovingly when she talked to him about ideas that he didn't agree with. He would often interrupt her in the middle of a sentence to tell her she was wrong. As a result of the childhood experience, she had difficulty concentrating when anyone in authority talked to her. She would concentrate on how she was coming across to the other person, not on what the person was saying. Adults' listening behaviors serve as models for the child's behavior. Children do what they see adults, particularly their parents, do. Children are excellent mimics, and it takes them practically no time at all to learn listening behavior from their adult models. If parents constantly talk at each other and do not respond to each other's feelings, if they communicate their judgmental attitudes through their posture or facial expressions, or if they give each other and their children little acknowledgement, the children will mimic that behavior.
Excellent. It's a great reading. So mimic behavior is a very spotlight, I would say, word for this topic at the moment. We imitate, we do mimic for our parents, and it continues till we become adult. Unconsciously, we do this. I tell you a quick story. A mother used to make scare his child that if you will not eat, I will tell you your teacher, and she will ask you why you did in the home. So mother used to do this every day with the child, and next day or after a few days, the mother did something wrong with the child, and the child say, I will tell this to my teacher. So what you are feeding or you showing your attitude and behavior and to your children, they practice and they exercise it immediate in their life or later unconsciously in their adult life when they are in teenager as well. Do you know that the teenagers in teenager life, especially in the Western country, uh, more likely they say they are very rebellious. These teenagers are unable to handle, and we are very biased and stereotyping behavior as an adult with teenagers. Do, do we know? And why? Because why they become rebellious? Why our teenagers in schools and in home are out of control? Why they don't listen to their adults and teacher and parents? And often they are in bad habits, too much friendship, too much gaming, too much sexual involvement, content involvement, too much. Maybe some are addicted in some drugs as well, too much smoking, and so many addictions are in teenager in America, in UK, in Australia, in now even it's everywhere in the world, in India, in Middle East, everywhere this problem is there. Do you know why? Because of our very poor parentings we do. Why? Because we are very, very ill-mannered parents, and we handle our children, and all what main component is responsible? Listening. And as a talker, what we were going to train our children, and that because they are not satisfied in with us as a parent, therefore they have a very, very rebellious behavior and attitude in their life as a teenager, and that become part of their poor listener when they go in their practical life after becoming adult, and it's going on until they are fully aware that they can they could be a better listener, they could be a better relationship builder, they could be the better boss, they could be the better colleague, they could be the better employee, they could be the better wife or husband or a spouse if they were not treated good, if they were not treated ill-mannered by their parents when they were. So that is, you can't, it's unbelievable, this thing. But we have to understand this thing very consciously, very consciously. And like these 5, 6 questions, which I just give you the exercise from the book, I have taken from the author, that if you can do, that is going to be change your present life. So let's try to read another story in this thing. So I would ask Jenny if you can read this.
My father used to frown when concentrating on something. I thought he was angry or upset with me until I later found out that he was only concentrating on what I was saying. I certainly experienced some anxiety until I found this out. When I started conducting seminars, I discovered that I frowned a lot while concentrating on what the talker was saying, and attendees thought I was being critical of them. It took an awareness of this facial expression and a great deal of effort to stop a behavior learned from my father that was causing problems in my professional life.
Thank you. You see, it's very true story with everyone, but we appreciate the author of the book who has written. She is telling us her story, how she learned bad behavior from her father, even though her father had a facial expression like this, and she was thinking that it's a negative, but anyway, she learned, and now even as a seminar conductor, as a facilitator, as a trainer of the seminar, she is doing the same thing, and she didn't know because she was doing unconsciously. But as soon she became aware and then she handled it consciously and became aware about this, and but she spotted it. That's more important, and she cured this problem as well, and she made what it meant to be, and that is for me as well, and that is for you as well. No problem which age level we are, we can fix it, not a problem. Let's try to read another one story and then another one story, and then we will close this session for today. So Vicky, if she can read it, this, if she is with here, or otherwise Mike can read it.
Unmute. There we go.
A young man reported a more severe problem than mine. He had great trouble listening to people. John constantly tuned others out while they were talking, and he couldn't seem to break this habit. It upset him because he was having trouble at work listening to directions and paying attention during meetings. As it happened, his mother had been a non-stop talker who ignored his needs. To keep his own sanity, he had learned to shut her out of his consciousness. He became so good at tuning her out that he generalized this behavior, ultimately turning other people out as well. It took a lot of work to overcome this deeply ingrained response.
Excellent reading. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you and listen to you. Thank you very much. If you see that this is a very normal behavior we do as a parent, as a mother, as a father, as being a dad, we ignored and we built bad habits in our children very, very openly, very, very straightforwardly, and but we do not care about this. You know what I'm talking about. And that's how our adults have been grown up and trained by their parents. So if you see any person who is such a poor listener, or who is ignoring you, or he is pretend listener, or he even or she or he even does not know the meaning of empathic listener, you can see what type of childhood he or she had been, isn't it? So how this is important in this. Let's read this last story of the manager who was very non-listener. And let's see what is the story. So Jenny, if or Mike, yes, Mike, you can read it, please.
The manager became aware of his non-listening habit while participating in a listening exercise. I had noticed early in the seminar that he was probably listening at level 3 or level 2. When I asked for a show of hands from those who thought they were level 1 listeners, he was among those who raised his hands. However, when he had to summarize what the other person said during the listening exercise, he discovered he couldn't. When I suggested that this might be a learned behavior from his childhood, he quickly discounted my suggestion. The next morning, he confided to me that he had thought about what I had said and that I had been right. His parents had often ignored him and were busy doing other things when he talked to them. He remembered how frustrated and unloved he felt. He went on to say that his family told him that he didn't listen to them, but he denied it and disbelieved them too. He was grateful that he had the opportunity to discover his true non-listening habit. This socialization process is a determining factor in people's development of certain listening patterns. Being aware of this process and how it influences listening styles can help us overcome patterns that result in dissatisfaction and frustration.
Excellent. It's a great reading again. So you see this many times people overestimate or misunderstood himself or herself about, oh no, I'm a very good listener. No, I'm a great listener. Oh, I'm a super empathic listener. I love listening. I mean, that type of lies we do, even though we don't know this is a lie or this is misunderstanding about my own self-image, about myself. So, and when we do practical, what we call experiment to judge what level of I'm a listener, and then you see that trainer or the author of the book, she found a manager that he was or level 2 or level 3, but that manager initially said, no, I'm a level 1 listener, but he was not. And then he dig out that problem, that actually because his parent had often ignored him. So he used to receive ignored communication pattern from the parents. And that's why he was actually on level 3 or level 2. But he had overestimate about his listening skill, that he's a listener number 1, like a super listener. So that is a time to evaluate myself. That is a time to know my own roots. If I want to be a great listener, a great spouse, a great friend as well, or a great employee or boss as well. So remember these 5 questions you need to answer. And if you have answered it, just type your answer, or you can say, yes, I have written the answer of these 5 questions. Of course, this is your personal stories, but just if you are watching the recording, then you still can write, yes, I have, or I will do answering these questions about, and find out what type of childhood experiences I had, which have direct relationship of current listener I am. And of course, it has a direct link with my own role as a spouse, as a friend, as a boss, as an employee, as a parent, on my personality and character as well. So hope you enjoy this. You have any question? Wow. So that's good. And that's it. Next week, we will continue to read this this advanced course which we have started. Week number 11 will cover our self-knowledge as a listener or about other, and how we listen through different filters. Very important. Very interesting. With many secret things we will get to know, that how we listen and how unconsciously we filter lot of things when we are listening someone. Uh, isn't it? It's very interesting. And are you coming next Sunday in the live class as well on Zoom or Facebook Live? You can uh, type your comment as well. So, and give me feedback. How did you find this session? I'm your host Maratib Ali Shad, and we will take a 1 or 2 minutes break, and then we will come back on the second session about the pain body and the media and the movies which we are watching uh, for our spiritual and mental awareness in my second course. So stay tuned with me for a few minutes. Thank you very much for joining me. And I'm going to stop my Facebook and then I will come back in 1 or 2 minutes on my life coaching page on in a live class again. Thank you.
Recording stopped.